Professor Rao, Professor Kulkarni, Madam Rao, and dear colleagues and friends. Welcome to this gathering today. So today we are going to show you a small documentary that we have made on the Gangolihat Science Outreach Program. And before I go into the program itself, I want to give a little bit information about the state-of-the-art facility that we are sitting in here. This is the Madan Mohan Malviya Amphitheater. And after 2008, it was recently upgraded with the generous support from the center, thanks to Professor G. Kulkarni. And under the leadership of Professor T. Govindraju and the team of Srinath, Vinayak, Munegowda, Dilip, and Peer, and Praveen, of course. This facility has become a really advanced facility, a very high-end facility. Let me give you the features of this in 1 minute. It has a wireless transceiver with 3 HD and 4K cameras, which can transmit and receive in a 100-meter range. So no cabling needed, it's all wireless. Then, and this is obviously as a hybrid facility for interacting with students and other things. Then the amplifiers and the mixers are also the latest, they're very new. Plus, in the ETU building, we have, and here also, we have GPU-based, extremely high-end computing facilities for creating these documentaries and also mixing audios and videos. And I must say, working with Vinayak has shown me how proficient he has become in these things. So with this, I would like to just give a brief outline of the program. So we'll show the video first. And at the end of it, I would request Professor G. Kulkarni to say a few words, and then Madam Dr. Indumati Rao will give concluding remarks. So let's play the movie.
The heart of our country, the mighty Himalaya, even a glimpse of its splendid beauty gives us the feeling of how fortunate we are to receive the call from the mountains. The Himalayan peaks comfort the exhausted souls and nurture our minds with tremendous positive energy. It encourages us to spread the happiness and joy of giving. Today we have gathered here to view a short video presentation of this year's Science Outreach Program at Gangolihat. Before we delve into the video, we will hear about the inception of this program from the founder of the Himalayan Gram Vikas Samiti, Shri Rajendra Singh Beshti ji.
हम लोग प्रोफेसर के.एस. वल्दिया जी के नेतृत्व में 2009 से उत्तराखंड में साइंस आउटरीच प्रोग्राम का संचालन कर रहे हैं। जब ये कार्यक्रम की जानकारी प्रोफेसर C.N.R. राव साहब को हुई तो उन्होंने भी इस कार्यक्रम में स्वयं भागीदारी की और वो कई बार उत्तराखंड में आए 2011 से 2016 के बीच, और वो उन्होंने स्वयं बच्चों के साथ एक दो दिन रहकर अपने व्याख्यान भी दिए, और जो साइंस आउटरीच प्रोग्राम में जो प्रतिभागी बच्चे थे उनका मार्गदर्शन करने के साथ साथ जो शिक्षक और तमाम सारे जो साथी हमारे वैज्ञानिक और प्राध्यापक इस कार्यक्रम से जुड़े थे उनका भी निरंतर मार्गदर्शन और उत्साहवर्धन किया। हम C.N.R. हॉल ऑफ साइंस के सहयोग से उत्तराखंड के सीमांत जनपदों रुद्रप्रयाग, चमोली, बागेश्वर, पिथौरागढ़, चंपावत जनपदों में इस कार्यक्रम को संचालित करते आ रहे हैं।
Professor Umesh Wagmare and Mrs. Aruna Wagmare have been a part of the JNCASR team and also deeply associated with this program since the very early days, and now they will be telling us their views on this program.
So I have been fortunate to be associated with the Science Outreach Program in collaboration with C.N.R. Rao Hall of Science and the Himalayan Gram Vikas Samiti. It's been such a wonderful experience where we are united as a family with great scientists like Professor C.N.R. Rao and Professor K.S. Waldia, with whom we have so many beautiful memories of many years when we went to Gangolihat. I used to participate in 2 types of programs, one in which we would go in October along with Professor Waldia, and we would go from one district to another, one school to another, and connect with the children there. And in another one, we would go with Professor C.N.R. Rao every summer and be in Gangolihat, the headquarters of HGVS. The most important aspect of this program has been to connect with the children of Uttarakhand and also being away from our usual setting, so that we have a lot of time to think on our own, think of out of the box, and at the same time connect with each other. It's a luxury to get so much time with Professor Rao and Professor Valdia, and those memories I can never forget. The kind of discussions we had, not only connecting with children, we ourselves got inspired as a family and as science colleagues working with these great individuals. I must also remember our company with Mrs. Rao, who would make it a really complete experience of connecting with kids from many angles at Gangolihat.
The Science Outreach program has always been an amazing, humbling and a great learning experience for me. The greatness of the mountains and the air changes something inside every one of us the very moment we start climbing. The enormity and splendor somehow renders us insignificant. We automatically could shed all our differences and work as a complete team with a single focus to infuse the love of science in the lives of children, to transform their future. And in return, each one of us was touched in one way or another by their simplicity, generosity, despite hardships and struggles they face. It is only in this program and among the children that I have seen Professor Rao the happiest and most relaxed. We missed him this time.
Our journey to organize the Science Outreach Program 2022 began on 24th April. After we landed at Bareilly Airport and started our road trip towards the mountain, it was a thrilling experience for all of us, as some of our team members were traveling for the first time to the Himalaya. The road trip to Uttarakhand, which is a piece of paradise on earth, an adobe of clouds, offered a particular combination of incredible mountains and freely meandering rivers. Let's now hear about the experience of the road trip from Professor N.S. Vidyadhiraja.
This road journey is the most spectacular part of the trip also. For example, any amount of imagination that you may have regarding the road will definitely fall short when you actually embark on these tortuous high altitude roads. For example, the treacherous landslides, the expert drivers using every inch of the road space, the camaraderie of the driving community, their own internal rules and the respect for each other, the magnificent views of the lush green landscape, and the rushing invisible rivers, their sounds for example, and so on, and the short breaks where the different vehicles of the team, they stop, and then we have hot tea and snacks and discuss our experiences and compare notes for example. Then the ever-changing landscape, sometimes completely barren and sometimes lush green, right? The realization of this immense effort that goes into building these roads, which is the most important channel of communication for these remote places. And also one of the most important thing is how these Himalayan people take impermanence and the imminent possibility of destruction of their livelihoods by earthquakes, landslides or floods, how they take that into their lives as a given fact. That entire experience strikes me and with an intensity and makes me realize the remoteness of these places, especially of the places that we are going to, like Lohaghat and Gangolihat.
After traveling all day long, we finally reached Lohaghat. The tiredness of entire road journey vanished away with the cold mountain breeze. We felt so refreshed. After the sun was down in the evening, the sky appeared bright in the moonlight. It is indeed the best place to experience the soft whiff of wind on your face that blows all the worry away. The following day, we started the first session of Science Outreach Program on the premise of Gurukul Academy, Lohaghat. So before I go further and share the individual experience of our team members, I would like to give a glance at the Science Outreach Program. The Science Outreach Program, which is a unique initiative in the mountainous region of Himalaya. This is one of the flagship program of the C.N.R. Rao Hall of Science and the Education Technology Unit. The four firm pillars of this program is Professor K.S. Valdia, who is not among us, but his blessings and guidance will always remain a source of encouragement. He introduced a multidimensional vision to this program and encouraged students to nurture their passion. Professor C.N.R. Rao, who not only supported this program financially but also contributed a lot to enlightening the path of countless students to climb limitless ladders of knowledge. Professor Indumati Rao has always been a source of incredible inspiration and motivation to all. Her encouragement and involvement took this program to a new horizons, which motivated many students to choose the right path of wisdom. And then comes the founder member of Himalayan Gram Vikas Samiti Gangolihat, Sri Rajendra Singh Bishji, who has been tremendous support to provide the firm platform on which the dream of spreading science awareness among the future of our country could be possible.
There were two objectives of this program. One is to inculcate scientific temper among the children, and that was actually the most enjoyable part, because there we would really interact with kids in an informal setting and their teachers and find out what aspects of life they are involved in and what problems they face. And in addition, of course, we will connect with them through our lectures with interesting academic content designed at the level which is accessible to those kids. And the children come from very different backgrounds, different levels of their studies. So it has been quite an experience where, you know, we find out about their family background, social background, and how they get empowered, the girl students versus boy students. So it's a very educating and enlightening experience to connect with them, and also use science as a medium or a way of life to mix and sort of unify with the national people in Uttarakhand.
Professor Shiba Vasu joined the team for the first time this year, and she has expressed her wonder about the coherence of the entire efforts.
I think also here it was a group of very different people all coming together, and it felt like very seamlessly everybody was, you know, picking up the roles that they needed to fill in the gaps that were there. And I could see that, you know, Mrs. Aruna, for example, would just take the mic and take care of the coordination of the program. And when something needs to be done, Mr. Jayachandra would be, you know, up to the task. You didn't even have to tell him anything, you know, he seemed to already know what to do. And also, I think one very important member of this team was Dr. Jayashree, and her connect with the Himalayas and her knowledge of the geology of that region and that connection with Professor Waldia also was very special. For me, I feel that is a very, very important part of the school, because we are in the lap of the Himalayas, in the midst of the Himalayas. I feel those students would appreciate the beauty, the geology and all of those aspects very much, and I think that was a very important component. My daughter also was very fascinated by all of these things that she saw, and I think the same and maybe more would be true of those kids that I saw.
The coordination among the entire team of JNCASR and Himalayan Gram Vikas Samiti was remarkable. It was not just sharing the knowledge, it was sharing the happiness and excitement with the students and their teachers. We worked like one unit and stayed like one caring family. Jayachandra sir being the most loving and responsible member of the family, and Maitri being the smile of everyone's face. This gave us an opportunity to understand each other better, and this bonding rejuvenated our lives.
Our first stop was at Lohaghat, where an exciting scientific program had been lined up. The opening batsman was Professor B.D. Laktora, who presented several applications on biotechnology. Then, Professor Umesh Wagmare took us to an entirely different world, starting from the Big Bang theory to materials that changed the world. This was followed by an engaging lecture by Professor Shiba Basu on sleep, the tick-tock of our biological clock. After lunch, the graveyard shift was transformed into an active arena through physical experiments by Professor Vidyadhiraja and Mr. Vinayak Patar. The last lecture on the first day was about satellite communication by Dr. S.S. Waldia, retired Deputy Director ISRO. The second day, I began with another Big Bang and deep geological secrets of our Earth as a dynamic planet. Following this, Dr. Narendra Kumar Singh Sijwali spoke about extremely important and difficult concept, namely infinitesimals and the infinity. Breaking the monotony of theoretical talks, Dr. Pratap Vishnoi and Mr. Vinayak Patar transported us to a magical world of wonders by conducting the most energetic and exciting chemistry experiments. Professor P.S. Meher spoke about differential calculation and its application in science and engineering, and Professor A.S. Jinnah introduced us to the development of gene concept. Mr. B.S. Kuranga explained about the coordination of algebra and geometry in such an easy manner that even biology student got the flavor of coordinate geometry. The scientific program at Gangolihat was parallel to the one at Lohaghat. One addition to the former was Professor Ravi Manjuthaiah, who is also the first-time participant, and he highlighted the role of autophagy in health and disease. Professor Vidyadhiraja would like to tell us about an interesting observation he made during the Lohaghat program.
For me, two of the aspects of this year's program were singularly distinct. One was the transformation of the girl students at Lohaghat from being completely unresponsive. They were not even talking to us, right? Even when we made complete effort to go to them and elicit a response on the first day, to being bold and highly responsive on the second day. And this happened through a very, very simple change. Just a simple seating rearrangement where we made the girls sit in the front rows and the boys were at the back rows. That's it. That made all the difference.
Now we will hear from two first-timers, Professor Ravi Manjuthaiah and Dr. Pratap Vishnoi, about their experience.
I've always been hearing from some of my senior faculty members that how their trip to Gangolihat was a very, very different one and a mesmerizing one. And the day came this year when I got a mail saying that I can also be a part of that journey. Fortunately, I was in Uttarakhand attending a conference, and from there I went up the mountains on an arduous 6-hour journey, and it's the most windiest roads that one can see, but you also get to feel the energy around the place, the beauty of the place sort of mesmerizes you. I'm a bit into amateur birding, and I've never seen any kind of birds that I've ever seen there before, and it really blew me away. The place is so nice, people are really warm, especially the women. They work so hard collecting all the dried leaves on huge saris and piling up on their legs and on their head and walking around barefooted.
The stay at Lohaghat and Gangolihat was very nice, and the hospitality extended by Mr. Rajendra Singh's Beast and his super active team was handsomely appreciable. I'm not normally a morning person, but because of the lovely Himalayas, I could wake up early in the morning and go out to see some attractive sunrises, listen to relaxing bird songs and soothing nature sound. Our visit to the Mayavati ashram and the Bhubaneswar cave was super exciting.
Professor Ravi Manjuthaiah and his family reached Gangolihat from Bhimtal before the rest of the team, and he felt greatly moved by the warmth which they received by Bestji and others.
And finally, when I reached the place, what was amazing was all the warmth that the people there showed. Bisht-ji there and so many other people whose name I cannot recollect now were all very forthcoming and made us very comfortable, homely. Jayashri had set up a beautiful platform with all the connections going up there, and we were received in a lot of warmth. And in the evening we could interact with all the students, and I learned that from 25 schools around the area, top 4 kids from each school were there to get first-hand experience and then go back and share with their colleagues and other students. And so it was a very nice informal chat that evening that we had, discussing about each other's backgrounds, and I learnt a few words in the native language. And the next day when I gave a talk, what was very interesting to see was the true nature of the place there. All the girl students were the most active ones and vocal ones, and we decided to have them in the front seat, and you could see their excitement in asking questions and interacting even during the talk and then later after the talk also. We shared a meal with all of them, which was very nice, a homely, well-made meal, and even when we came out, we were surrounded by all the students around us, and they were asking so many questions.
Another highlight of this program is the practical demonstration of various concepts. I think the kids enjoyed that the most. The fact that they could see the science in action, they could see all of those concepts that they read in the textbooks in action was like a highlight for them. I think they will take back with them for many years to come, and hopefully they will also spread this message to their friends and will therefore spread the scientific temper among their friends and hopefully family members also.
The physics experiments at Gangolihat elicited fantastic energy and excitement from the students. This is where the second singularity occurred. One of the boys there struck me as being extremely bright, but having raw talent, and he gave correct answers to most of the questions. That is true. But then to some of the very difficult questions which were totally out of the syllabus, he gave very imaginative and sometimes even wild answers. So that kind of a raw talent is something that we should definitely nurture and bring out, and mostly even try to guide as well in the future. So the entire experience for me creates an indelible memory and leaves me with enough energy and motivation to carry on until the next year's program.
The enthusiastic young minds were so keen to learn about each subject, especially the experiments of physics and chemistry performed by Professor Vidyadhiraj, Professor Pratap and Vinayak Pattar. I must mention that Vinayak Pattar, who even started interacting in Hindi, and students got more excited to see his enthusiasm and adorable Hindi speaking skills. We ourselves got so excited that could not control getting involved in it.
It was the first, longest and most extraordinary journey in my life in the rugged terrain of the Himalayas. I was spellbound by the tremendous Himalayan mountains and valleys. The tryst with the nature was indeed an excellent experience for me that I will never forget. Situated in the laps of mountains, the schools at Lohaghat and HGVS campuses were surrounded by a beauty of nature. The morning mist made it more beautiful and refreshing. Our JNCASR team members were very friendly. They took their roles and responsibilities without any hierarchy. I appreciated and realized many facts from this visit, like how teamwork can make any event successful. My most memorable experience was witnessing the rising sun in the wildwoods, isolated villages on the mountain tops, the spectacular limestone caves. This was the lifetime experience for me. The simplicity and humility of the mountain people was overwhelming. I was thrilled to achieve a celebrity status because the students and teachers, they were eager to take my autograph and also selfies with me. That was the first experience in my life.
In this edition, we had many new resource people. The chemistry experiments were one of the main highlights. The intense and colorful session integrated science, laughter and more. It was an icebreaker. Not only students, but we as resource people thoroughly enjoyed this, and then there was no stopping for the kids.
The kids were excited to explore ways in which science links to almost everything in our lives, and also to become more active about science and technology in terms of how these streams can be possible career paths for them. I felt so relaxed to interact with them through content-based and real-time experiment-based demonstrations in chemistry, and I got feedback that it reached to almost everyone.
It actually opened a perspective in my eyes also. We are in a place where we are sort of age limited, I would say. We have senior students with us, postdocs with us, all grey-haired people around in the campus here, and just to be in the midst of all the kids there made us feel very young, I would say, and also the questions and the curiosity that the students have is very thought-provoking. So it's certainly going to be one of the best memories that I have in an outreach program that I have ever done. I never thought I would get an opportunity to go so far, especially up in the Himalayas, such a beautiful place. What an environment to really be there, get inspired and interact with the students. So I am asking for one more opportunity to go and see and be amongst that place.
The way the program has been designed is really wonderful, and I personally enjoyed visiting this place because we visited mountains, we took a walk in the Himalayas, we visited the caves, and that was a great opportunity for me. And what I enjoyed more is the participation of the students in the lectures. The students enjoyed the talks, they asked questions, and in the evening they had very nice cultural programs wherein the cultural heritage of each of these places have been deployed and demonstrated, and students between the Himalayas, they met each other and exchange their cultural values. This was another eye-opener and an opportunity for me, and I will never forget about this experience having visited Himalayas.
One major reason why this program has been running so successfully and is going to be maintained in the long run is the dedication of the team of people in the Himalayan Gram Vikas Samiti. I have not met a more dedicated group of people who are so committed to this cause of keeping this program alive and bringing people from so many schools and teachers from so many very important institutions around the country to come and teach really very basic scientific concepts to these kids. I felt that the way they taught some of these concepts were really so inspiring. This group has really found the best people to teach some very, very important concepts to the kids. And I myself felt like I learnt a lot from there.
I was a part of SOP in 2018, but the kind of energy I felt this time was outstanding. This was the first time that Science Outreach Program was organized in the absence of our mentors, late Professor K.S. Valdia, Professor C.N.R. Rao and Mrs. Indumati Rao. Although we were a bit nervous initially, the support of Rajendra Singh Bishtji and his entire dedicated team of Himalayan Gram Vikas Samiti Gangolihat made this entire program so serene and effective.
And here you will witness a message that captured the essence of this program by Maitri, the youngest member of our team. The presentation will conclude with remarks by Mr. Rajendra Singh Bishtji.
हमारे जो आवासीय कार्यक्रम हैं उनमें 350 से अधिक विद्यालयों के लगभग 2500 छात्र और लगभग 400-500 हमारे शिक्षक लाभान्वित हो चुके हैं और पूरे साइंस आउटरीच प्रोग्राम के दौरान हम लोग 2020 तक पूरे उत्तराखंड में 22,000 से अधिक विद्यालयों के छात्राओं और शिक्षकों को लाभान्वित कर चुके हैं। इस कार्यक्रम का जो सबसे बड़ा प्रभाव रहा है, इससे बच्चों में एक नई चेतना का विकास हुआ, साइंस के प्रति उनकी अभिरुचि बढ़ी और आज वो कई क्षेत्रों में अपना बेहतरीन प्रदर्शन कर रहे हैं। तो ये सब कार्यक्रम के लिए हम प्रोफेसर C.N.R. राव साहब का आभार व्यक्त करते हैं, उनका धन्यवाद अदा करते हैं। उनकी मदद से प्रोफेसर वल्दिया जी के नेतृत्व में जो काम हमने किया उसके बहुत बेहतरीन परिणाम रहे हैं। हम अब चूँकि वल्दिया जी नहीं रहे हैं, परंतु फिर भी हम उनके जो बताए रास्ते पर और C.N.R. राव साहब के मार्गदर्शन में, मैडम राव के मार्गदर्शन में हम इस कार्यक्रम को पहाड़ों में नियमित रूप से चलाते रहेंगे ताकि यहाँ के बच्चों को एक नई ऊर्जा और नई दिशा और जो देश में जो नए नए अनुसंधान हो रहे हैं वो उन सब की जानकारी हो। मैं अंत में जो इस कार्यक्रम से हमारी जो फैकल्टी जवाहरलाल नेहरू सेंटर फॉर एडवांस साइंटिफिक की जुड़ी है या यहाँ लोकल जितने भी हमारे साइंटिस्ट जुड़े हैं, मैं सबका मैं धन्यवाद देता हूँ और राव साहब का हम पुनः बार बार हम उनका नमन करते हैं और उनके दीर्घायु की कामना करते हैं। धन्यवाद।
This year again, we organized this program in 2 villages of Uttarakhand, Lohaghat and Gangolihat. Though we missed Professor Uday Ranga, Professor N. Chandrabhash and Professor Govinda Raju, who are the integral part of this program, we were lucky enough to connect with Professor C.N.R. Rao and Mrs. Indumati Rao. The students were extremely delighted and excited to see them online. And yes, we experienced the spectacular smile on Professor C.N.R. Rao's face after seeing and addressing the students. He showered his good wishes and blessings to them. We hope that you have enjoyed the presentation. Thank you for being with us today.
I do hope that you have enjoyed the presentation. Just want to make a few remarks. This documentary was made completely in-house. There was absolutely no professional help taken. Even the images and videos that you have seen are all taken from our team members. So that is something that I would definitely highlight. And the other thing is, this kind of a documentary making was absolutely the first time in my life. So whatever glitches you see, kindly excuse us. And with that, I would like to invite Professor Jeev Kulkarni to say a few words.
Thank you, Professor Vidyadhiraja. After seeing the photographs and videos from the trip, we used to receive actually by WhatsApp, while you were there, I miss more now after seeing the video. It is wonderfully put together, and thank you for inviting me to witness the same. Jaychandra was on trip, and we had an online meeting and something urgent, in nature. Jaychandra is here, no? So he agreed to appear online, and that was okay with us because nowadays online meetings are very common. And he did appear online. Signal was very good, but he was not with us. He was taking a walk, and he was so disconnected with the topic and whatever we were discussing. Then I told my colleagues, let us excuse him, let him enjoy whatever he's doing. It must have been truly mesmerizing. It's a good account what you have given in the video. Thank you very much. And doing or participating in outreach programs, particularly with Professor Rao through Hall of Science and all these related activities is not new to me. I've been part of the Lakshmeshwar program a couple of times in the rural setting. It's also equally mesmerizing. Probably this is at a next level, I must say. And it is not that I didn't get the invitation. Many a times, Professor Rao himself, Madam, they invited me, but I didn't have the courage. I don't think I have the courage yet because I'm not too sure I can connect well with the kids with the local language. And, Madam told me recently, it's okay, you can talk even in English, doesn't matter. So probably I'll make my, next year, probably I'll try and make it. Yes. And I must thank on behalf of the center the efforts you are putting in, both of you, through the Hall of Science and making funds available and entire support and encouraging and guiding the team. This time, I think first time the team went without you. Of course, they missed, but I think they have been quite successful in based on your guidance, what they have carried out there. And I must assure at this point that whatever required from the center, we'll be very happy to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Kulkarni. I invite Madam Indumati Rao to come to the stage and give a few concluding remarks.
Professor Kulkarni, Indira, and the invited heads of units and all that who are not here. It's a little disappointing, but I hope they are the losers because the presentation was so beautiful. Even I, who have been to the Himalaya, to the Gangoli magic of Gangolihat, had not really viewed it as a whole. This presentation really emphasizes that the whole is greater than the sum of parts. What they have done with it is capture the entire magic, beauty, totality of what Gangolihat means. It is not like just the outreach program. It is not the lectures that are given. But it's not just the children, not resource people, but everybody put together. And this time, it was really very, very unique. Even I found the difference from the innumerable outreach programs we have gone to. First of all, I'll just take a few minutes. First of all, one day, this outreach program had come to an abrupt halt due to COVID, and then our inability to travel. And in the meantime, Professor Waldia passed away, various other impediments. And then I had kind of reconciled myself to the fact that it may never get revived. And it was a beautiful dream that was cut short. But one day, on I think 14th or 15th of April, Professor Raja and Jayashree came and said, we are going to have the outreach program in Gangolihat from 25th to 29th. I said, Gangolihat? Oh, I assumed it was going to be online. They said, no, it's in person, and we have assembled the various resource people. I was really taken aback. And they told me the composition. It sounded fine. We just suggested to 2 or 3. One was I wanted Vinayak to go there because we wanted to emphasize experimental show, both in physics and chemistry, and Mr. Jayachandra. And one more resource person I was very particular about including was Shiva. I have seen her communication skills at Chandan School, Lakshmeshwar. And also, we needed more women representatives. And we also had Ravi Manjitaya, who was already in Bhimtal. So it was just a matter of driving up to Gangolihat. I mean, not as easily said as done. The roads are treacherous. With all this, they took off. And I was absolutely amazed because, starting from ticketing such a large group of people and making arrangements, everything had been planned before they were so sure that it would happen. This was the first time Professor Rao and myself were not there physically. It was only physically we were not there. Our minds, hearts, and everything was there with the group of people going up. I was a little hesitant, apprehensive, because a lot rode on this trip, on the outcome of this initiative. Whether the program would continue or the dream would become a reality, or whether it would just wither away. So every evening we would be, not even listen to news, which is quite something. Wait for the feedback from any one of the people going up the road, and they sent fantastic reports of the communication, the joy, the exploring the unknown. And we were almost sure that it would succeed, even before they reached Gangolihat. And every time, every day they were traveling up the winding, difficult roads of the mountain roads. But whenever they stopped, they looked so fresh, rejuvenated. And you can see that in the pictures. And, by the time they reached, even before the program started, it was obvious it was going to be a success. One of the main features of this was they were almost all the same age group. More than that, they were all first-timers to the Himalayas, to the magic of the mountains. It is something that changes you. The grand mountains makes you feel how insignificant you are as a person in the scheme of things. And it had touched each and every one of them in different ways. And that was just the beginning. And another feature of this 22 initiative was, I may be accused of plagiarism, but the motto seemed to be one for all and all for one. And they were so seamlessly helping one another to see that the program succeeded. The children got the benefit. And I called them the Shaiksnik ambassadors. I didn't want to call them warriors because we're not doing it as a war, on a war footing. We are doing it as a peace initiative. We want to bring the joy of learning, the light of knowledge, and the infinite joy of learning, not just science, various things, and to appreciate things around us. And they have done it successfully. And I'm absolutely convinced now that the program will go on. We had children and we had volunteers from various disciplines, as I said, but we even had a very young 11-year-old Shaiksnik ambassador. I know now, I would like to present them. I don't see any fresh face, but still we will go as planned. I now request Jayashree and Professor Raja to come on stage and introduce the Shaiksnik ambassadors of Team JNC. Dr. Jayashree, and this is Professor Vidyadhiraja. I won't say he is the dean, but more he is a mentor of the young. He himself looks like a student.
We are disappointed that Umesh and Aruna are not here because they have been a part of this program since a very long time. But whoever is here, let's at least get together. So I will invite, let's start from the youngest. So Pratap. Very young member.
Yeah. Now I would like to call upon Vinaya, who is, of course, very enthusiastic in the team.
The really youngest member, Maitri, and Shiba, of course. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Each one is separate. Come with.
Okay, so I take this responsibility to call upon Professor Shiba. Please, Shiba, come on stage.
Ravi, please come. That's it.
I want to really show my appreciation to these warriors, the Shaiksnik ambassadors of JNC. I'm positive they're going to be the USP of all our outreach program and put the name of JNC on the map, all India map of outreach programs. I have no doubt it will happen. And the one thing is, I'm certain, is while the personnel, the individuals may change, the concept, the program is nirantar. It will go on as long as JNC is there, because human capital is there, and I'm amazed at the number of, enthusiastic volunteers in every field at JNC. Everything is in-house, and in fact, the presentation of the trip is, you cannot believe that it's a first-time one. My only request, Jayashree, is make it a little longer in terms of giving more time and more time for pictures. Yeah, I was the one who kept saying, make it short, make it short. So now after having seen it, I'll say, make it long. But anyway, today's youngest ambassador, Maitri, will, I'm very sure, grow up to be the leader of the expedition later. Thank you very much.
So with this, we conclude the program, and I request Professor Rao, Professor G. Kulkarni, and Madam Rao to lead the way to light refreshments outside, just outside. Thank you very much.